Americans, which country would you move to if you choose from every single one on the earth and why? USA, it's best country. Most opportunities you have anywhere on the planet. My great uncle came from my country and started a donut shop and then opened more and more and is now a millionaire. He owns many houses and moved a lot of our extended family out there to work and they all make good money, and are happy. You cannot do that here or any other country that simply I know of. It is truly free and you can say what you want. If I say fuck the president, don't arrest me. A lot of places that kind of talk will get killed or arrested. I did look up Dad Ngoy. I've traveled all over the world and here are my picks. Portugal, excellent weather, friendly people, tons of expats, so easy to make friends. Australia, probably the most culturally similar place, so transition would be easy. Also great surf and underrated food scene. Mexico, probably the most underrated place for Americans. The country has so much to offer outside of the resort towns. You can live like a king and retire early there. Japan, can't get over the energy of this place. There's also huge expat communities. I will simply build my own ship and set myself free upon the seas. Of course it would be one hell of a ship never before seen. Where the forces of good and evil reside is no place to be, for truth is the only measure that can set one's life free. But war and destruction is all that good and evil is meant to be, as it always leads to the same place and results in the same inevitable end for any and all who play that game, and your world is about to end permanently. N.S. My wife, Filipino US citizen, and I, US citizen, have lived on Panay Island in the Philippines for the last 16 years. I could go on and on about all of the ways that the Philippines are impossible: corruption, incompetence, natural disasters, pollution, overpopulation, poverty, inequality. But, beyond lovely beaches, and a relatively low cost of living, are the ordinary Filipino people, friendly, warm, and decent. I feel privileged to live among them. I value an English-speaking country too high on my list to consider a lot of places, unfortunately. It would have been EU, but with the UK leaving the EU, I realistically only want to live in Ireland long term, which may limit me. I think I'd have to stay in the US. A lot of complaints, but it's a massive country with many pros and cons. Moving around to the right place can fix a lot of my cons. Of places outside the US I spend a decent amount of time in, I'd go 1. Sweden 2. Italy 3. Australia. Places I've been but haven't spent significant time there more than 3 weeks 1. Denmark 2. Costa Rica 3. Finland. Places I haven't visited but would be willing to try and make it work 1. Nicaragua 2. Japan 3. Portugal, Seoul, Korea. I spent a year there. Nice place. I figure getting a job there won't be too difficult. When the Civilian Services Association helps me to get a place to stay. My only concern will be learning the language until I can speak it just as well as someone who was born and raised in that city. Either Wales or Ireland. Most of my ancestors are from Wales. It looks beautiful, and Ireland looks like such a beautiful place, too. I love the cultures from both countries. I wouldn't mind the coast of British Columbia either. I live close by the border and it's pretty similar to where I live. Canada, because to the best of my knowledge it is going to fare better than a lot of other parts of the world as the world gets hotter. Canada. Not that it won't be affected, see the infamous 2023 Canadian wildfire season, just that it will fare better than a lot of other places. I moved to Florida, a beautiful country. All jokes aside, I would probably choose India. Only because that's my ethnic background, and in the last 10 years the country has made huge changes, and is rapidly developing. Still has a long ways to go, but it's getting better. It's a toss-up between the UK and the Netherlands. UK, I have always just felt connected and comfortable there. Netherlands is quickly overtaking the UK, but I've also only been to Amsterdam. I would love to move to Europe, but it's not likely that will ever happen. Probably either Canada or Mexico. Canada is very similar culturally and development-wise but more competent lol, and Mexico is just fascinating with great food and friendly people. And both are close to the US in terms of visiting family and friends. Spain or Portugal. EU benefits. Basically the same weather as I have here, not America, is also a really big selling point. Spain would probably be higher up because I already speak tourist Spanish. Portuguese would be harder. Spain, specifically Barcelona. It's actually a consideration down the road. Beach, jobs, bilingual, people are great, summer off. Can travel around Europe very easily. Education for the kids is great, so is healthcare. Netherlands. Seems to be a much better place to raise a family. Can't leave your child unattended for 10 seconds without worrying about them being taken, but over there, kids under 10 are at the park alone. If they had like normal amenities, plumbing and internet, a monthly ferry, Antarctica. I don't have a good reason why, I've just always wanted to live there. Not for science or anything. Just funsies. Ireland. Oh, Ireland, you are so gorgeous, and scenic. Your people are lovely. The music, the Guinness, the seafood, the storytelling. It's not all roses, but the people make it grand. Switzerland or Liechtenstein. I want to have a firearm and I speak a bit of German. Autonomy, gun ownership, peaceful wealthy society, and wilderness to explore are my priorities. Probably Denmark, it seems like a neat place and I have a bunch of distant family there. English is pretty common there too, so I could get by until I learn the language. Move back to Japan or Korea. Husband got really good paying job in US. After that's over, back to one of those with way more money than we would have if we stayed there. Australia because it's California with a different accent. Or Singapore because it's safest, cleanest urban area around. And the food is fantastic. Japan. I lived there for 3 years and now looking back, those were some of the happiest years of my life. Just felt comfortable there for whatever reason. England. I've always been somewhat of an Anglophile and based on my personality, I might fit in more in that country. Another choice would be Canada. Ireland. It's the place of my ancestors, and I'd like to see the place. I also have heard a few times that they don't have mosquitoes. Canada, specifically Montreal. But these French-speaking immigrants have to learn English first, 'cause we speak English in America, duh. Canada. Australia. Scotland. If money was not an object and I didn't have to work. Panama. Costa Rica. New Zealand. Switzerland. First of all, America is a large continent, USA is North America. Second, please don't, stay at your own country please. 3. Ireland. It's where most of my ancestors are from, the people are generally nice, and they have government healthcare. The United States. I was not born here but I recently became a citizen and I would like to stick around this place. I guess Israel. There really aren't a lot of other options as a non-Orthodox Jew if you're going to leave the US. Germany. I've always had a love of the country and am trying to learn Thai language with the threatening language owl. I already moved to the UK. It has its problems but nothing compared to the US. Life begins when you leave America. Australia. Weather is similar on the south coast to Southern California, and Aussies often make me laugh so hard. Spain or really most of the Western European countries. Quality of life is just so much better there. Instead of moving, I'd stay and try to move the country to be a better place for all citizens. I need more info. Do I have to maintain employment or am I just living out my life? Finland for sure. What a civilized country is supposed to be. Plus beautiful woman. Australia for the open space, English language, healthcare, and common sense gun laws. The UK are one of those cool Scandinavian countries where it's absolutely beautiful. I like wine and skiing, so probably Rhone Alps in France or the Dolomites in Italy. Probably Germany because they have really good food. I'm not talking about kebab. The continent of Antarctica. X200b. Finally, people will just leave me alone. I have always been in love with Ireland and I love the scenery and the outdoors. France. It's just a fun country. And people smoke like crazy, it's awesome. Germany because things run pretty well there, and I speak the language. Germany because most of my family is there and it's a beautiful country. Finland, they vibe with my Idaho do silly country life things. I'd moved to Portugal. I really liked it there when I visited. France, because the scenery is nice and I love the culture. New Zealand. Just seems like a beautiful, magical place. Scotland, because it's beautiful and full of redheads. The US cause I already live here and moving is a pain. Germany is starting to legalize weed so maybe there. Back to England I guess, it's where my family lives.